Hey, welcome back to Master Lectures. Now, let's take a look at this question on the board. These are grammatic questions, all right, that you'll be seeing in your examinations, whether you are preparing to write 2026 JAM or you are preparing to write what 2026 WAEC. These are possible questions you will come across. Now, without wasting time, let's dive into these questions. Now, pay attention. Question 1. It says, which of the following organs regulate the amount of amino acids and glucose in the body? Which of the following organs regulate the amount of amino acid and glucose in the body? Now, most students will recklessly run and go and pick A, kidney, because they feel that the regulation here means just to excrete. All right, but that would be wrong. The correct answer is B, the liver. Now, why is it the liver? Now, let's analyze it. Now, if you look at the first one, amino acid. Now, amino acids cannot be stored in the body. Amino acids are the breakdown product, all right? The breakdown product of proteins. Okay, so when proteins are broken down, they are converted into what? Amino acid. And amino acid cannot be stored in the body. So because amino acids cannot be stored in the body, when they are in excess, the liver does a process known as deamination. All right, deamination is the breakdown or the conversion of excess amino acid into a substance called urea. Conversion of excess amino acid into a substance called urea. So the liver regulates what? The amount of amino acid. Now let's go to glucose. How does the liver regulate the amount of glucose? Now the liver regulates the amount of glucose by, all right, converting excess glucose in the blood to glycogen. And when the level of glucose is low in the blood, glycogen is being converted back to glucose. Now the liver does this conversion of glucose to glycogen and glycogen to glucose. It does this conversion by the presence of an hormone, all right, and those we have two hormones that help the liver to do that conversion, which are insulin and glucagon. So the correct answer to this question is the liver and not the kidneys. All right, now look at question 2. The appendicular skeleton is made up of A, limbs, B, skull and limbs, C, phalanges, D, girdles and limbs. Now, please, as a student, all right, please don't just run and pick option A. Learn to analyze the options. Try to read through the options before you pick your answer. Now, most students will run and pick option A, but guess what? Option A is wrong because it is not only limbs. Yes, limbs is part of the appendicular skeleton, but it is not only the limbs. So if you go through the option, you see that we have another option, which is also D, that comprises of two things that are also part of the appendicular skeleton. So the answer becomes what? Option D, which are the girdles and the limbs. Now, when we are talking about the limbs, we're talking about the forelimbs, your hands, and then the hind limbs, your legs. Then we're talking about the girdles. The girdles are structures that attach the forelimbs to the shoulder and the girdles towards and the hind limbs, which are the legs, to the hip bone. All right. So the answer is what? The girdles and limbs. Now, question 3. In fish, the sense organ which detects movement is in fish. The sense organ which detects movement is now A, gills. Now, gills is not the answer. Now, what's the function of the gills? The function of the gills is for gaseous exchange. Please take note. The function of the gills of fish, the gills of fish is for gaseous exchange. The gills of fish is for gaseous exchange. Is it only gaseous exchange? No. The gills of fish can also help the fish to feed. All right, can also help the fish to feed. That is an aspect of the gill known as the gill raca. So the gill has three parts: the gill raca, the gill arc, and then the gill filament. All right, gaseous exchange occur in the gill filament. Gaseous exchange occur in the gill filament. That is where gaseous exchange take place. All right, then the gill raca, all right, is what is used for feeding. So gills is definitely not the answer. Now, option B talks about a lateral line. Now the answer is lateral line. The lateral line is just like a thin line that helps the fish to detect vibrations in water. Option C, operculum. Operculum is also called gill plate. That is another name for the operculum. It is also called what? The gill plate. And the operculum is what covers the gills in fish. So the answer can never be the operculum. And then the nosary. The nosary, please, the nosary of fish is not used for breathing in and out. Please take note. The nosary of fish is used for the perception or you say smell of chemicals. The nosary of fish is used for the perception or you say what? Smell of chemicals. So to perception, all right, means smell. So the nosary of fish is used for what? Smelling. So in the question, in fish, the sense organ which detects what? Movement is what? The answer is what? The lateral line. That is the answer, the lateral line. Now the last question, partially digested food ready to leave the stomach is called partially digested food ready to leave the stomach. Now the answer is called what? A chine. All right, partially digested food ready to leave the stomach is called a chine. Now take note, a chine is what? Acidic. A chine is what? Acidic. So chine is acidic food substance in the stomach that is getting ready to leave the stomach into the small intestine. Now what is a chine? A chine simply means partially digested food in the small intestine. So partially digested food in the stomach is called chine, and partially digested food in the small intestine is called what? Chyle.